The Hung Fuck Court fire in Hong Kong took more than 100 lives, and it also burned the shadow of CCP infiltration into Hong Kong into full view. The whole city is grieving and burning with anger. Calls to find out the truth and hold all responsible to account are surging, with petitions quickly surpassing 10,000 signatures. But instead of responding to public opinion, the Hong Kong government has copied the CCP's stability maintenance tactics from the mainland, arresting petition organizers, shutting down pages, and doing everything it can to suppress the wave of accountability. The mainlandization of Hong Kong is now nakedly advancing on all fronts. Beijing has also issued a menacing statement, threatening the Hong Kong people. Don't miss the next drop, subscribe and hit the bell. Even more shocking is that a contractor with a long trail of misconduct still won the bid at a high price, with pro-Beijing district councillors escorting the project all the way through, while top figures at the Urban Renewal Authority, URA, have been revealed to be deeply intertwined with mainland Chinese capital. The safety netting at the fire scene was also dug up by netizens and suspected to come from a shell company in Shandong, China, whose legal representative has the same name as COVID testing queen Zhang Shanshan. And the long-circulating online rumor that she is the younger sister-in-law of Xi Jinping has been flying all over the internet for years, impossible to clearly verify as true or false. This inferno has exposed the real contours of Hong Kong in the Xi Jinping era, and a dark web in which CCP power and profit are tightly interwoven. For demands in the petition, the Hong Kong government responds with arrests and page takedowns. The Hung Fuck Court fire in Hong Kong claimed at least 129 lives, with more than 200 people still missing. Among the public, there is a widespread belief that this disaster was not a natural calamity, but a man-made catastrophe through and through. Huge doubts surround the blaze, and a chain of questions is piercing the public's nerves. Did the contractor violate regulations in its construction? Is there collusion and transfer of benefits between officials and businessmen? The safety netting had already been reported last year for potential fire hazards, but the relevant departments did nothing. Did government oversight fail, and were officials derelict in their duties? There is a massive price difference between safety nets with flame-retardant properties and ordinary netting. Did that gap create a breeding ground for corruption and corner-cutting? The safety netting used at the fire scene was produced and certified by a Shandong-based Chinese company. Why has the Hong Kong government never given a clear response to this? On the one hand, the authorities claim the blaze was triggered by the ignition of the safety netting. On the other hand, they insist the netting had flame-retardant properties. Is this not a blatant contradiction? In response, a grassroots group called the Concern Group on Tai Po Hung Fuck Court Fire was quickly formed, launching a petition with 4 major demands. Establish an independent commission of inquiry to thoroughly investigate possible transfers of interest. Review the engineering supervision system from top to bottom, and refuse to simply sacrifice a scapegoat to settle the matter. Hold those responsible for regulatory failures to account, including the relevant government officials. Continue to support the affected residents and properly arrange resettlement. The people of Hong Kong are demanding that the government thoroughly investigate the truth, hold officials accountable, and make public all documents related to the case, to fully clarify the network of vested interests behind the project. According to Hong Kong outlet in media, as of 7 p.m. on November 29, the petition page showed that more than 10,000 people had signed. But the petition had already been terminated, with the last recorded signature time around 4 p.m. That same Concern Group on Tai Po Hung Fuck Court Fire social media page has now also disappeared. The report, citing sources, says that one of the petition organizers, Miles, has been taken by police to the station. The media also published a photo showing that at around 9:30 p.m. that night, Miles was escorted back to his residence by multiple police officers for a search. Miles is a college student, 24 years old this year. On the 28th, he told in media that he is not a resident of Tai Po, but he went to the scene after the fire to help distribute supplies. He criticized the disaster as stemming from systemic problems, while the government tried to shift the blame onto bamboo scaffolding, essentially searching for a scapegoat. He said he was furious at remarks by Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan Kwok Ki proposing to replace bamboo scaffolding with metal frames, which prompted him to start the petition. He said he was not worried about his personal safety, but felt sadness and anger, and hoped the situation in Hong Kong could improve in the future. After hearing that Miles had been arrested, members of the public flocked online to post sarcastic comments. They don't solve the problem, they just solve the person who raised the problem. Yet another example of Hong Kong's mainlandization. Beijing statement, intimidation of Hong Kong people. As public criticism of the Hong Kong authorities surged, Chief Executive John Lee's Facebook page was flooded with comments. The Hong Kong government is facing its most severe political crisis since the anti-extradition bill protests. On November 29, the Hong Kong Office for Safeguarding National Security of the Central People's Government issued a menacing statement, threatening the Hong Kong people. The statement, titled Resolutely Supporting the Hong Kong SAR in Strictly Punishing Anti-China, Destabilizing Forces for Their Acts of Using the Disaster to Destabilize Hong Kong, in accordance with the law, accused so-called anti-China, destabilizing forces, of seizing the opportunity to stir up trouble, and external forces of interfering, while threatening to strike resolutely and without mercy in accordance with the law, language identical in tone to the CCP's stability maintenance rhetoric on the mainland. On the 28th, Hong Kong Secretary for Security Chris Tang also declared at a press conference that he would crack down on so-called people who spread rumors by taking advantage of the fire. On the 27th, PLA spokesperson Jiang Bin demanded that the garrison in Hong Kong follow orders, perform duties according to law, and safeguard Hong Kong. Commentators note that while this language is nominally about disaster relief, it is in reality a threat to the people of Hong Kong, a signal that the military is ready to deploy at any time to suppress any large-scale protests. What Beijing fears most right now is not the Hung Fuck Court fire itself, but the possibility of Hong Kong once again erupting into another uncontrollable wave of street protests like the Umbrella Movement or the White Paper Movement. Beijing also fears that Hong Kongers will channel this fury at the entire pro-Beijing political establishment, potentially causing the upcoming Legislative Council elections to collapse, turning the so-called patriots governing Hong Kong into an international laughingstock. The consequences of the CCP hijacking Hong Kong. The construction contractor involved in the fire, Hung Yip Construction Company Limited, Hung Yip Construction Engineering Company Limited, has been found to have a long history of lawsuits and violations. Despite its notorious track record and a bid far higher than competitors, it still won the contract, raising suspicions that the outcome was prearranged and involved official corruption. Hong Kong media previously exposed that pro-Beijing District Councillor Jennifer Wong Bic Kiu was accused of being one of the key figures driving the repair project. She served as an advisor to the Hung Fuck Court Owners Corporation during the period when the repair project and contractor selection were being pushed. Even when residents questioned the contractor and moved to remove the management committee, she posted on Facebook in support of the contractor. Wong has denied any responsibility for the Hung Fuck Court fire, but many Hong Kongers continue to direct their anger at her. Independent commentator Jiang Feng pointed out that this case is a result of the CCP system hijacking Hong Kong. It likely involves red, CCP-linked industries from the mainland colluding with Hong Kong's officialdom to hunt for the wealth of Hong Kong people. He also noted that the CCP has thrown district councillors who dared to speak up for the people of Hong Kong into prison, allowing so-called patriots loyal to Beijing to take over. These patriots then collude with business interests, forcing the residents of Hung Fuck Court to accept a sky-high repair plan riddled with safety loopholes. Another independent media figure, Zhai Shanying, also claimed that senior CCP officials had sent him information saying, the Hung Fuck Court fire in Hong Kong happened because CCP real estate got ruined by Xi Jinping, leaving steel scaffolding heavily overstocked. They wanted to offload it onto Hong Kong, but the Hong Kong government refused, because bamboo scaffolding can keep more workers employed. So the CCP sent national security agents to set the fire, but these people were unprofessional, causing a massive disaster. Whoever benefits is the real culprit. Although this allegation cannot be verified, after the fire, the CCP state media all pointed fingers at bamboo scaffolding, calling it backward, clearly steering public opinion. Jiang Feng added that after the incident, the Hong Kong authorities ordered that metal frames be used to fully replace bamboo scaffolding, not only to shift blame and distract attention, but also to absorb the mainland's surplus steel capacity, a decision made in Beijing's interests. Urban redevelopment in Hong Kong is managed by the Urban Renewal Authority, URA. Public information shows that the current chairman of the board is Chow Chung-kong, and the managing director is Y. Chi-sing, Kai Hongxing. Chow Chung-kong comes from Hong Kong's Transport Department and once served as chairman of MTR Corporation. He has long held directorships or senior positions in multiple Chinese state-owned and multinational companies. These positions typically require the approval of the SAR government and are seen as closely aligned with the liaison office of the Central People's Government in Hong Kong. Some describe the liaison office as having both diplomatic and intelligence functions within the CCP system, others bluntly call it an espionage organization, saying its influence runs deep through Hong Kong's political and business circles. Chow has served in management or board roles in CLP Power, CITIC Pacific, HSBC's China operations, and joint projects with the Bank of China, Hong Kong, and is therefore viewed as having close ties to the CCP. CITIC Group itself has been exposed as a vehicle for CCP intelligence operations in Hong Kong. Managing Director Y. Chi Sing is a professional architect and also a general manager at Nan Fung Group and Chinachum Group. Has Xi Yuanping's younger sister-in-law resurfaced? Netizens have also dug up claims that the type of fire in Hong Kong was caused by fraud by two companies from Shandong, one called Shandong Chinchu Chemical Fiber Rope Net Company, Limited, which produced flammable nylon netting passed off as fireproof safety netting, and another testing lab in Binzhou that falsified test reports. But Shandong Chinchu Chemical Fiber Rope Net Company, Limited is essentially a shell company. Its legal representative is named Zhang Shanshan, the same name as the mainland's COVID testing queen during the 3 years of heavy-handed pandemic controls. But it is still unclear whether the two Zhang Shanshans are actually the same person. The COVID testing queen, Zhang Shanshan, has long been rumored to be the younger sister of Zhang Lanlan, the wife of Xi Jinping's younger brother Xi Yuanping, and said to have been originally named Zhang Xiaoyu. But the authenticity of this claim is impossible to ascertain. If these two Zhang Shanshans are indeed the same person, then this shady Shandong company belongs to the Xi family, which would mean the Xi clan was raking in money in Hong Kong, and their greed led to this inferno. In that case, will Xi Jinping purge his own family's power, or will he instead be besieged by his family's interests? If this Zhang Shanshan is not Xi Yuanping's sister-in-law, she must still be someone with deep background, because only then could she have worked with the mainland government and broken into Hong Kong on a large scale to rake in profits. Celebrities mourn the Hong Kong fire. The blaze drew the attention of Hong Kong actor Chapman too, who has long lived in Taiwan. Right after the incident, he expressed his condolences on social media, and on the 29th he spoke out again, saying that seeing people from all over the world, of different backgrounds, willing to donate to Hong Kong's disaster relief filled him with gratitude. "Whoever you are, aside from gratitude, there is only gratitude," he said. Chapman too said that everyone has their own way of mourning and should be respected. He chose the most direct way, donating the funds to the families of the firefighters who died in the line of duty, praying for the deceased and the affected families. In this fire, a 37-year-old firefighter surnamed Ho lost his life while fighting the blaze, plunging the entire city into grief. Veteran singer Jenny Sang, Zhen and I, also wrote on Facebook that it was inaccurate to blame the rapid spread of the fire on bamboo scaffolding. Based on repeated viewing and assessment, she said, the first things ignited were the green netting and the polystyrene foam and the window sealing materials, and only then did the fire spread to the ropes tying the bamboo scaffolding. The bamboo poles were in fact the last to burn. Large amounts of intact bamboo could still be seen fallen or hanging on site, showing that bamboo itself was not the primary fuel source. She said this was a typical, smoldering, type fire, in which the flames spread extremely fast and residents had great difficulty escaping. She expressed deep sorrow for the victims. Jenny also criticized some officials' statements after the fire as empty and perfunctory, giving people the sense that they were talking nonsense, fond of quibbling and shirking responsibility. She added that this kind of situation is not the first time and likely not the last either. She lamented, "It didn't burn their homes, the Pearl of the Orient is no more, and the people of Hong Kong can only rely on themselves for good fortune." Actor Anthony Wong Chau-Sang, Huang Qiusheng, shared a similar view. Drawing on his own experience, he pointed out that bamboo is not an easily combustible material. Just take a piece of bamboo and try burning it, you'll see how long it takes to catch fire. He questioned the narrative that reduced the reason for the rapid spread to bamboo as an accelerant, and argued that society should focus more on the truly dangerous materials instead of targeting a traditional construction method. At the recent MAMA Awards held in Hong Kong, Chow Yun-fat made a surprise appearance near the end of the ceremony. He urged everyone to mourn the victims of the Hong Kong fire together. "Dear friends, please rise slowly and send your heartfelt blessings to our residents in Taipei." At one point, Chow was so choked with emotion that he could not speak. The entire venue went dark, and all present observe 30 seconds of silence.